and welcome to the Morning Dew Show here on the Isaac TV, the cradle of goodness. My name is Anne Mongai.
And my name is Andy Mike Lambo. Good morning. And don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And our SMS lines are running below your screens. So keep the conversations alive.
Yes, and the hashtag is always the Morning Dew Show. Now, today we have a lot lined up for you, being that we are actually at 5 days to the general election. But first, let's look at what is happening on the headlines.
And just today, Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022, Daily Nation has a lot of interesting stories. And what is on the front page is Raila favorite to win, says polls. First round victory depends on the 7% undecided voters. So we're going to talk more about that story. And we have another story on which is politicians must now end the hate crusade. So this is just that story continues on page 16. Then there's another very interesting story that continues on the back page of the Daily Nation, and that is architect of Nairobi and Dar es Salaam bombing attacks killed in America raid. So we'll be talking about this and more after.
Now, looking at the Standard, there are actually also amazing stories, and the main story being that high stakes, the 10 big names to watch. We'll be looking at that. That story is on page 6. And another story on page 4 says abrupt school closure leaves students stranded. We'll be looking at that. And another story on page 12 says 3 out of 4 polls put Raila in lead. We'll be looking at that. And of course, a story on page 3 that says Al-Zawahiri, how US nailed top terror chief. It's a very interesting story we are going to highlight it. And of course, not forgetting the 46 and 47 page that says our sprint king is back. We will be looking at that and so many more stories. But right now, let's look at the newspaper reviews.
Yep. And just to start on this story, Raila favorite to win, says poll. First round victory depends on the 7% undecided voters. We still have 7% undecided voters.
Yeah.
I thought they were 10% at some point. They've reduced.
They actually reduced, which is a good thing. But we were hoping there wouldn't be undecided voters, because right now we're actually at 5 days, which means that people should now be decided to know.
Yeah,
this is the person I want to vote for.
The best thing is now we are narrowing down to it's like a 2-horse race because of Wajakoya.
Yeah.
So you should be decided by the we need your vote. Anyways, let me just read something here that two polls released yesterday indicate that Raila has gained over Ruto in the last 1 month after statistical ties in the previous popularity tests. So Raila is at 49 while Ruto is at 41. 5 days to the general election next Tuesday. 3 surveys released yesterday by the Nation Media Group. So this is Nation Media Group, Infotrack, and Ipsos. All show Odinga has stretched his lead between 6 to 9 percentage points and significantly beyond the margin of error, pointing to the beginning of the end of a statistical dead heat as both camps ramp up their campaigns. Yeah,
Actually, also the same story is on the Standard, and on page 12 actually says this is now an analysis done by Ipsos, Tifa, and Infotrack. Now, according to this analysis, Mr. Raila is at 47% at Ipsos, and Mr. Ruto is at 41%. Mr. Wajakoya is at 2.9%, and Mr. Mwaure is at 0.2%. And actually, they are undecided, which is 3.8%, according now to Ipsos. Now, when we go to Tifa, Raila Odinga is at 46.7%. He is leading also at Tifa. And Deputy President William Ruto is at 44.4%. Ruto's party presidential candidate is at 1.8%, and undecided is at 5.2%. Also, at Infotrack, Mr. Raila is at 49%, and Deputy President Mr. Ruto is at 42%. Mr. Wajakoya is at 2%, and undecided here is at 6%. So, According to now these polls, Mr. Raila is leading, according to polls. But the question we're actually asking is, who actually conducts these polls? I mean, who are these people who are given the question?
Ipsos,
yeah, I
Tifa.
know, but do they give people questionnaires to ask them the questions, or what is the process that actually
I don't really know how it works, but I know there's a public participation in it. Maybe through questionnaires or something of that sort. And just to add on the story, this story is very interesting. It goes ahead on page 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 of the Daily Nation today. So on the second page, they say, despite 8-point lead, there are still many who are undecided, and opinion polls are known to have inherent inaccuracies. So it's sort they're trying to give us a sketch of the picture, but not really. You cannot rely on this so much, because there's a breakdown here that it's of how popular they are. So they started with political coalition popularity, and in this, Azimio One Kenya Alliance has 48%. Kenya Kwanza has 39%, then none 14%. That is in terms of how popular the political coalitions are. So Azimio is very popular, coming at 48%. Then Kenya Kwanza is at 39%. Now there is presidential candidate popularity by May. That was William Ruto at 42%. Raila Odinga was also there at 42%. Those undecided, who are these undecided people?
Yeah.
There are undecided people at 10%.
And actually, on the note of undecided, there's actually a story on page 10 and 11 that talks about who are these undecided people and what are they saying, and we're actually going to look at that.
We really want to know who are these undecided people, because they're really making an impact.
Yeah, a big one.
So they're undecided at 10%. Then the guys who did not answer are 5%. Others is 1%. Then the people who've decided they won't vote, they stand at 0.3%. But you should vote, people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then presidential candidate popularity in July. Raila still was leading at 49%. William Ruto at 41%. George Wajakoya at 2%. David Mwaure at 0.2%. Then the undecided votes were at 7%. Yeah.
Now, let's look at the undecided
please.
voters, because it's a whole 2 pages here on the Standard, actually. Page 10 and page 11. Now, it says, who are undecided voters and why have others changed their voting intentions? Because actually, when you look at maybe last year, maybe someone was on this side, then by this time they decide, okay, now I want to be on this side. Why are people now changing their voting intentions? And it actually has been broken down very, very nicely here on this Standard. And according to now page 10 of the Standard, it says, according to Tifa polls, the undecided has declined from 10% to 4%. Right now it's at 4%. As well as those who gave no response, from 4% to 2%. Okay. So we're actually lowering. You remember it was like at 10%.
It was at 10%.
Actually, yes. I think it was last month.
Yeah.
It was at 10%, but right now it's at 4%. But what are these and 4%? What are they looking for? Why are they undecided? And some of the reasons is maybe political party self-identification. Maybe you don't maybe agree with the political party, how they identify themselves with. Some of them have said that. And another thing is confidence in election integrity. Yeah, a lot of these undecided voters, they're not sure if there'll be election integrity. That is why they are not decided yet. Who is who they are going to actually choose for to be their next president. And maybe I want to read what some of the analysis has been made over here. And I want to maybe quote, it's on page 11 of the Standard. It says, among those who voting intentions for the presidential contest has changed, because as I said, there's some people who have changed from this party to now this other party. It says that a slightly majority of 57% say they support a different candidate. However, nearly a third, that is 31%, say that they have moved from being undecided to know who they will actually support. But potentially, the minority say who previously supported a candidate are now undecided, because maybe you are supporting this person and you're like, okay, no, I don't like maybe the manifesto, how maybe they chose their running mates. Yeah, because that is a factor actually. Because it's stated actually here, some of the things that is causing these people to be undecided voters or to change their voting intentions is the influence of other people, maybe from friends or influence from other people, the choice of running mates, the running mate. Maybe you don't agree with the running mate, now you change your party. And the non-appearance or withdrawal of a potential candidate from the race. I remember some of the candidates did not actually go for the debate. It's an issue. Some people actually change their minds after that.
And I think too, it's because, could it be that you remember the issue we had with the Azimio side, where what people really wanted, the leaders that people wanted were not given the certificate, so they had to defect to other places. So I think these are some of the issues or some of the reasons why we still have 4% of people that are undecided. Yeah,
actually also maybe withdraw of a potential candidate from the race. Maybe you wanted this person to be your member of parliament or your governor, but now they were not chosen for that. Maybe they did not get that
or they
chance.
endorsed
they endorsed someone else. You see, now you change your intention, you change your party, or you decide, no, now I am undecided. But these are some of the factors that are actually causing these 4%. And TIFO polls have actually analyzed it very well. But we really hope, because actually we are running out of time, because right now we are actually at 5 days, and we really hope actually people are going to make the decision, because at the end of the day, we really need all the votes, right?
But I understand that it's 4%, and on the Daily Nation is at 7% undecided voters.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, another thing, I forgot to mention, 43% mentioned the reason as to why they are undecided or changing their voting intentions is because of method of campaign and their manifestos. 43%, that's a big number. So people actually may be looking at the manifestos and how maybe you're campaigning.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still on that story though, because you said it has taken a lot of leaflets within the paper. I think I have it on page 1, page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 people. It's so interesting on what people think about that this coming polls having just 5 days to go, That's so serious. It's just 5 days.
Just 5 days.
To make a very big change that will see us go through maybe 5 years or maybe 10 years to come. We don't know. But there's a story there. While DP Ruto's popularity has largely remained the same, Raila has made major gains in the polls. So repeat poll all round one win is up to the undecided polls show. So these undecided people that we're still talking about, they're really important, because they determine if we have to go for a round one win and it's like that, or we have to come back and do it again. So apparently these people should be decided. So to just help it out, then just to move on a little bit is imperfect science. Currently, surveys by several research firms show Raila is ahead of Ruto, when pollsters got it all wrong. So pollsters sometimes get things getting getting it wrong is not just Kenyan phenomenon, but was also observed in the 2016 US election. Many pre-election polls placed Hillary Clinton's chance of winning at anywhere from 70% to as high as 90%. Despite all the indicators that Clinton would win, Donald Trump got 304 electoral votes and Clinton got 227, as two electors defected from Trump and 5 from Clinton. So I think what they're trying to say here is polls are not really the accurate thing of what you would want to expect. They're just, they might be wrong, they might be overrated, they might be underrated, but it's just a sketch of what you should expect in the coming election. Yeah. So that story is also on page 5. You can read more on that. And yeah.
Actually, to highlight a bit a story, just very quickly, time is not on our side, but we need to highlight this story because it's actually very important and it is happening right now. It says that students suffer brunt of abrupt ministry order to close schools. Now, we know that yesterday schools were closed. Abruptly, and parents, maybe they were not ready for it, they were not expecting it. Everyone has been complaining about it. How do you feel about it? Was it too abrupt?
Yeah, it was, man. It was so abrupt, you know, because you think that they're still in school, maybe they'll come back on Friday, like tomorrow everybody go home.
And everyone goes
you know, for the students, they're all jubilating, they're going home. But I think for the parents right now, it needed a little bit of planning. Some it took them by surprise. So,
but there wasn't time for planning. You don't even know, like, you just called, your child is supposed to come today, and there's a parent here who said that they paid school fees with all the money and they didn't have money. So when they were called that their child needs to come home or they need to go pick their child at school, they were stressed because they don't have money at that point because it wasn't planned, you know?
You know, and it's very wrong because, you see, when these kids get back to school, teachers tend to want that money, school fee and that. So, you know, it really, it doesn't really, it pressures the parents. So imagine you've just paid it. Then 2 weeks down the line, you're being told, you know what, your son is coming back home. To do what?
You know, I was surprised, but I know this actually happened in regards to the election. Is because now we're going to
Yeah, but at
election.
least, you know, we already knew that the elections were sometime next month. No, this month, I mean. So why wouldn't the schools have a calendar that would help the parents, you know, shield themselves, prepare themselves, because these kids come back home, you have to feed them. They don't just eat once. They'll eat maybe 3 or 5 times. The living standards are so high, you know, and that's why we have memes in Kenya saying, funga, fungua, fungua, funga.
Yeah.
That is what is happening to us with our school system right now. We have half term, we have, I don't know, sent home for what, we have, you know, there's a lot of things right now. And I don't know if it will really take a lot of time before we settle down and incorporate the CBC into our systems, because I don't know about the CBC because it has a lot of holidays. Thinking of it, the days I was in school, man, we never even knew there was what? Half term. There was no half term. Ukifungua hivi, mpaka after 4 months, ama ni 3 months, ndio uone home. Yeah? So hii yenye kila siku after 2 weeks mko nyumbani, after 3 weeks mko nyumbani, mara corona kidogo, it's devastating though.
Anyways, it was actually so sad for parents because they weren't even planned for that.
Yeah.
But actually it happened because it was the head said that you have to send your kids home. But actually we understand it's because of the election, and we don't want elections happening when the children are in school.
And do you know the worst part about it? The worst part about it is that the matatus, you took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took advantage of that. At a place where you'd go to buy, like, using like 250 shillings. Right now, yesterday, people were going to town at 700 shillings.
Oh my God.
Wow. It started pole 500. The next hour, the more you delay now, 600 until they go to 700. So
Okay.
that's how bad you guys take advantage of things.
Okay. You can look at that story on page 4. It's very interesting and sad at the same time. Right now, we need to take a very short commercial break. But when we come back, we'll be talking matters politics. Don't go anywhere.
Did you know that there is an island with the name of Christmas on Earth? Christmas Island, officially known as the Territory of Christmas Island, is an Australian external territory comprising the island of the same name. It is located in the Indian Ocean, around 350 kilometers south of Java and Sumatra, and around 1,550 kilometers northwest of the closest point on the Australian mainland. It lies 2,600 kilometers northwest of Perth and 1,327 kilometers south of Singapore. It has an area of 135 square kilometers. Christmas Island had a population of 1,843 residents as of 2016, the majority living in settlement on the northern tip of the island. The main settlement is Flying Fish Cove. Historically, Asian, Australian, of Chinese, Malay, and Indian descent formed the majority of the population. The first European to sight Christmas Island was Richard Rowe of the Thomas in 1615. Captain Willis Munoz named it on Christmas Day, 25th December 1643. It was first settled on the late 19th century. Stay in the know with Isaac TV. Did you know that the 7 Mile Bridge is one of the longest bridges on Earth? The 7 Mile Bridge is a bridge in the Florida Key in Monroe County, Florida, United States. It connects Night Key, part of the city of Marathon, Florida, in the Middle Keys to the Little Duck Key in the Lower Keys. Among the longest bridges in existence when it was built, it is part of the Overseas Highway in the Keys, which is part of the 2,369-mile U.S. route. There are 2 bridges in this location. The modern bridge is open to vehicular traffic, the older one only to pedestrian and cyclists. The older bridge, originally known as the Nice Key Pigeon Key Mosa Channel Passage Channel Bridge, was constructed from 1909 to 1912 after the railroad was damaged by the Labor Day hurricane of 1935. The line was sold to the United States government. Stay in the know with Isaac TV.
Baba Jeff, urudi kulipa madeni zako. Sitakuwa na kuficha.
Aki, please nifiche, hii ni mara yangu ya mwisho, nitamlipa. Huyu akinishika atanifinya. Usiwache yake anifinye bibi yangu, please.
Bari yako?
Nzuri.
Baba Jeff ako?
Sijui.
Simona umekuwa naye pale?
Hai?
Mwambie jifunze kulipa deni za watu. Ukipata naye nitamfinya.
Hai, hiyo ni yenu. Mimi sitaki kujua.
Wewe nini? Enda kwenye ulikuwa unaenda.
Hai, uko na nini?
My wife has superpowers. She can hide me out of plain sight. Na wako je.
Right from inception, The DISAC Media Services Limited has been committed to resolving the deficiency of empathy and progressive leadership and promoting mentorship in our social values system. Our vision and dream is to have a society where these values thrive for the well-being of all.
We strongly believe that every human has a right and a responsibility to self-actualize not only their individual potential, but that of the surrounding community.
Our media outlets use innovative broadcasts to highlight social challenges and chart the way forward to a progressive future where the elders embrace the energy of the young, while the young acknowledge the wisdom of their elders.
At DISAC Media Services Limited, we have infused technical diligence to ensure that we are accessible at the convenience of you, our audience. Here, we employ creativity and calculated logic to ensure that our news are accurate, fair, relevant, and timely, and that our shows are fascinating. Our rate card is determined by our resolve to maintain a balance between the industry standards and giving our investors great value.
Please join us in our deep-rooted commitment to bridge the gap between status quo and the future we desire for the current and future generations.
DISAC Media Services Limited,
where successful businesses
connect.
Welcome back to the Morning Dew Show here on DISAC TV, the cradle of goodness. Remember, you can reach us through our social media platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at DISAC TV. The hashtag is always the Morning Dew Show. Now, we are at the political segments, and we have two amazing stories that we want to maybe get into details with. And we want to start with the story on page 6 of the Standard that says 10 people to watch out now and after polls. It's actually the main story on the Standard. Yeah, it's on page 6, and I want to read what it says. The country goes to the polls to elect the next president in 5 days. Focus is on the outgoing head of state, who is actively campaigning for his choice of successor, and 8 men and a woman who carry the hopes and fears of a nation. Now it says, saying here that carrying the hopes and fears of a nation, power of incumbency. President Kenyatta's government has the responsibility of ensuring a smooth and peaceful electoral process. The judiciary, the court provides legal recourse. On Thursday, they are set to rule on use of manual register and prepare for the numerous petitions that will arise. Internet connectivity, a critical component of the polls. A relaying of results depends on it. Failure could delay tallying, potentially triggering tension. So these are the 3 main things that are actually very, very critical. Power of incumbency, the judiciary, and internet connectivity. And it has actually been highlighted very strategically, for lack of a better word. And it says here 10 people to watch now and after polls. And they have segmented it step by step, and each person from number 1 to number 10. And I want us to maybe enlighten you on these 10 people to actually watch out for now and after now the election. Of course, the first person is the President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and is in charge of the elaborate security apparatus that will be critical in ensuring the election. So he has a main role because he's the Commander-in-Chief. Therefore, he's actually in relation to this election because, as I said, he's the Commander-in-Chief and of the armed forces. Okay. The next person is the Deputy President William Ruto. He is making his first stab at presidency, and we know that he has a big following, especially in Mount Kenya and Rift Valley. Now, this is according to polls that has been done, and we reviewed the polls. Yeah, you can check that out. His supporters listen to him, and he will have to manage their expectations during and after the polls. So to ensure that they accept the decision that will be made. So that is his role in this election. And the next person is, of course, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga, who is taking his fifth stab from, he vied in 1997, again in 2007, again in 2013, and again in 2017, and he's vying now 2022. This is the fifth time. And we know also that also he has followers on his end, and actually his role here is to ensure that the supporters that he has accept the decision of the 22 million voters. That's actually nice. So
basically the three people you've talked about so far, that is the president, the vice president, and the Azimio chief. All these people are really, they're stakeholders to whatever we are going to do next week, because they can command their people. They can show them which way to go and how to go. So all we're asking for right now is a peaceful and transparent, fair election. And whoever wins, let them, the power of succession from President Uhuru Kenyatta to whoever who will be making government to be a peaceful one. So I think those are three basic and important people in this whole thing.
Very important people. Now let's move to the fourth person. Of course, is the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, who is, of course, the Cabinet Secretary, as I said, and he will ensure security is there before and after the polls. And we know that it says here, Dr. Matiang'i, just like the president, has thrown his weight behind Mr. Odinga and will be expected to be neutral in dealing with the security apparatus. So he has to be neutral.
That is where the problem is, I think, because I'm not really sure if the UDA side will feel that the CS is not biased, because we've had times where the UDA chief has been pointing fingers to Mr. Kibicho and the CS Fred Matiang'i for not really doing their work, But they have to be neutral in their capacities, because they are the strongholds of our security, of whatever it's going to happen within this time. They are the ones who are going to make sure that everything goes as planned and everything is peaceful and everyone is okay. Despite that, you as a person, as a normal human being watching us from wherever it is you're watching us from, also make it upon yourself to make the change, be peaceful, vote, go back home and wait for the results. Don't really be used to indulge in throwing stones or something of that sort.
So actually he has to be neutral. That's what it says here. He has, despite whatever team he's supporting, despite the party, he has to be neutral, because that is his job in this election. And another person, of course, is the IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati. I know he has been back and forth, having issues, having to answer a lot of questions throughout the some of the months, weeks. And right now, everyone is actually looking at him. And actually, the 22 million voters are looking at him. And also, 16,500 candidates vying are still looking at him. So he has a really, 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 really big job.
He's on the spot right now, you know.
Yeah.
He's on the spot. And he I think at times maybe he doesn't get sleep because
Of
we
course,
really
yeah.
talk about him so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we hope that the IBC as a whole has to deliver a transparent, fair, and free elections. So the way they're bringing these people out is the best thing, because now we have the president, who's the overall, who's supposed to hand over
Yeah.
power. Then we have the two aspirants who have a say on their following. They can make decisions and they can be followed. Then we have security CS, that is Matiang'i.
Yes.
You see, Dr. Matiang'i is also there, who is also a very key person in this time, because we would really want to see that we are secure, we are good to go. Yeah. Yesterday I saw you on Mombasa Road. There were some trucks, heavy trucks. I don't know where they're going to, but there are some trucks.
Yeah.
Some army trucks. If you didn't see that, I'll pass you the clip. No,
Yeah.
the thing is this. So far, the four we've talked about, you've seen how they really impact to this. But it also comes down to the IBC chair. Apart from these other people, there's this independent. You know, IBC is called independent.
Yeah.
They're independent, you know. So we expect a lot from them, and we are looking at them with a very keen eye. Yeah, I think on that list they should also add some other people. You still have some other people?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
actually 10 of them, and we're actually at number 5. We're down to 5 more.
Yep.
But as you said, Wafula Chebukati is all eyes on him
Yeah.
right now. Everyone is looking at him like this, like literally just 22 million voters are looking at him. And not forgetting, if that's not worse, 16,500 candidates vying, looking for him, looking at him. He has a big job to
Yeah, he
do,
has a
but
big job.
I really
But
pray he
it's
delivers.
nice because it comes once
Yeah.
in 5 years. So it's time.
Now, another one, the 6th one is, of course, Chief Justice Martha Koome. And we know that she is the head of the judiciary. Therefore, means her role here, she will be key in elections, given that they will be mediating the many disputes arising during and after the polls. Yeah, this is something that we have witnessed before. Actually, in 2017, there were, the disputes. So her role in this election is to ensure they mediate the many disputes that may arise during and after the polls.
And you remember the last time Maraga was also there, Justice Maraga, and he had to go through a lot of stuff just to nullify the election and what it. So it really needs people to be sober-minded.
Very sober.
Yeah, very peaceful and very coordinating, because a lot. We stand to lose a lot and we stand to gain a lot, depending on which way we decide to go. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, moving on to number 7 is the Inspector General of Police, that is Hilary Mutyambai. Kenyan election comes with anxiety, and Hilary Mutyambai is in charge of security agents who will play a great role in ensuring there is calm across the country. So that is his role. He will ensure that all security agents are doing their job to ensure that there's peace in the country, across the country rather. But actually, when it comes to peace, I think peace starts with you. So when you're peaceful, your neighbor is peaceful. You just have. It has to start with you. Also, with corruption, it has to start with you. If you want to end corruption, starts with yourself. Yeah. So another person is, of course, the National Intelligence Service, that is Director General Philip Kameru. Now, he has a big role also, because he is in charge of providing intelligence for the government. So Kameru is expected to advise the government on the security situation across the country before and after elections.
Okay.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a major role.
He's really playing a major role because if he's able to get that intelligence before, then we are able to stop some of the things.
Yeah.
If he doesn't relay it on time, then we have issues. So I think he's really playing a very big role. Considering the fact that we have independent observers that are in the country. They've come all the way from the AU, from the EU to just to be here to oversee how Kenya is doing its election. And I think this time we want to do it in style, peaceful, silent. Whoever wins, it's okay. We'll go with you for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
See you fulfill your manifesto. So yeah, that's how we would love it to be, and we hope it to be.
Yeah. Another person, number 9, is Interior Principal Secretary. That is Karanja Kibicho. Like his boss, Dr. Matiang'i, and IG Mutiambai, Dr. Kibicho will be coordinating the security agents to ensure seamless operations. So he will be working with Fred Matiang'i, Dr. Matiang'i, and Dr. Kibicho to ensure there is seamless operation. This is up in regards of security. And remember, I mentioned, just to maybe remind you, the 3 main areas that are actually going to be looked at is power of incumbency. And that's why the president is involved, the deputy president, and of course, Azimio la Umoja One presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Power of incumbency. That's when that comes in. The next thing is the judiciary, and we have seen Chief Justice Martha Koome is involved in there because there's a role there that has to be fulfilled. Another thing is internet connectivity, that this now deals with everything that has to be secure in terms of internet connectivity to ensure that election is perfectly done. Now, Dr. Wafula Chebukati plays a role there, and also Secretary Fred Matiang'i and Karanja Kibicho and Director General Philip Kameru also play a part here because they have to ensure security is seamless. Now, the 10th person is, of course, CAK Director General Ezra Chiloba. He is a former IEBC Chief Executive Officer. Therefore, he understands his responsibility of ensuring seamless transmission of election results. So that's why he is involved in this election, because he was there. He knows his responsibility, how it goes. So he will be working hand in hand with Interior Cabinet Secretary. No, he will be working with IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati to ensure that transmission of election results is seamless. So these 10 people are very, very, very important in this process. I mean, in this election. That right now that we're actually at 5 days, we have to actually know who they are, and the people that actually, it's like they are holding our results like this.
Yeah. They have our hearts.
Like this. Yeah. So, and
you're like an egg.
Yeah. Let me just read through the 10 of them. The first one is President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto. The second one, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, Chief Justice Martha Koome, Inspector General of Police Hirali Mutyambai, National Intelligence Service Director General Philip Kameru, Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho, and of course CAK Director General Ezra Chiloba. Very important people right now.
People to look at. People will ensure that this whole process runs and ends successfully, peacefully, and in one accord, leaving us as one Kenya. Now, just on matters still talking about that, now I just want to bring to you a very interesting story right here on a Daily Nation that is on page 13. It says, 9 more university students in police custody over hate leaflets. Where? Eh? Are you guys scared as we are? Me, I'm not scared though, but why would you have hate leaflets?
You know?
So these are students at Moi. First of all, the young guys, the youths, I thought we had an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, where we said, you know what, we are not going to be used to do such stuff. So let's stick to it. It's us who are tomorrow's leaders. So if we are going to behave in this manner, then it changes everything. So just to tell you a little bit of it, is nine Moi University students are in police custody in connection with circulation of hate leaflets through their WhatsApp group. So what are we supposed to do with our WhatsApp groups anyways? Because we can't really control who sends us what. So what would we do in that case now? Because if you read this whole story, these 9 students are saying they did not do anything. They found the message. It was sent through via their WhatsApp, and they have so far told the police in Eldoret that whoever the source of or the author of the message was. So let me just highlight it too. It's so interesting because this is in Eldoret. So the Eldoret court has allowed police to detain them for 3 days as investigations go on. So the question will be mentioned on Friday. That will be 5th. Yeah, Friday will be 5th. So the leaflet in question want some communities to leave was in Gishu. The leaflet in question wants some communities to leave was in Gishu County ahead of Tuesday's general election if they do not vote for in a certain manner. And just hear this. Copies of the leaflets were presented in court as evidence. So the leaflets have been subjected to concern with elders from different communities in the county demanding on Monday that concerned authorities conduct investigation and take action as Kenya Kwanza politicians, led by its flag bearer, Deputy President William Ruto, and his running mate Rigathi Gachagua, pointing fingers at the government. Did you get that? Yeah, that is let me just take that back. Now, this is where do I start from? Monday, that concerned authorities conduct investigations and take action even as Kenya Kwanza politicians, led by its flag bearer, Deputy President William Ruto, and his running mate Rigathi Gachagua, pointing fingers at the government. So the elders have been speaking and spoke as police dismissed claims that some communities had begun fleeing the county fearing possible skirmishes during and after the August 9th election. So already there are some communities within the Wasin Gishu area that are now fleeing the place because they're running for their safety. Yeah.
You know, I'm still at this point that you read here that some people will be forced to leave Wasin Gishu